It has definitely been an exciting 24 hours, and things have gotten a little exciting overnight. We've seen some ups, we've seen some downs, ADA actually almost breaching 90 cents. And what we're watching right now is a little bit of walking the ranges going on. I want to talk about that in terms of ADA. Do need to discuss one of the largest weeks in terms of BTC dominance we have seen in this market cycle alone. Need to discuss a huge record of $202 billion. All that and more in this video. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So yes, ADA had a bit of fun overnight. Unfortunately, we didn't get to realize it into this morning, but what we did see is that ADA actually ran up to, gosh, what was it? 89.55 in terms of price. Now, why I'm saying ADA's walking the ranges is, guys, if you haven't noticed, I've kept these lines on the charts for very long. Yes, my charts look kind of messy, but there is a reason for that. And you guys can see that this has been very important support and resistance for ADA. For a very long period of time. We're talking about 78 cents, we're talking about 85 cents, and obviously up at about 90 cents. And if you haven't noticed in terms of the ADA charts, these are still the edges of these thin liquidity zones. And what ADA tends to do is it doesn't like to live in there. It likes to either hit the bottom of it or the top of it. Okay. And so what we saw yesterday was, again, ADA go on a rally up, come back down, test the bottom of this, didn't like to live down there, so it ran up to the next zip code, sat there actually for a couple hours, basically right at our candle open for today's daily candle. Then it ran up to about 90 cents, didn't like it, came back down. Right now it's testing support here, and now we're waiting to see, are we going to hold the support? Will ADA, try to retrace and drop back down? Do we make another attempt at an extension at 90 cents? Those are the big kind of questions for the day. Obviously, the big thing that sparked the overnight excitement in terms of ADA was overseas money waking up, seeing that this crypto legislation passed here in the US. And by passed, I mean, we saw all three pieces of crypto legislation advance, meaning that the Genius Act did in fact go to the president's desk. That's going to be signed today into law. We have the Clarity Act and the Anti-CBDC Act both going to the Senate. So we're making huge progress in that regard. And now it's a question of, can we carry some of that momentum into the weekend? I do have to say this is all taking place while BTC is not doing shit. Okay. So altcoins are just running absolutely berserk right now. And in fact, we look at BTC dominance. This is a very much extended breakdown. And when we look at this, guys, this is actually the second largest weekly retracement in BTC dominance we have seen in this market cycle alone. Last time we had a candle that was actually this big was all the way back in January of 2024. If you guys remember, we had some excitement then, some nice pops in the crypto market. All coins started doing well. I mean, this is bigger than even what we saw any of the weeks in November. It's bigger than what we saw in late October of 2023. It's bigger than what we saw in late February into March of 2024. So this is a pretty distinct move in the crypto market. Now, obviously, institutional money on the Ethereum side is really helping us out in a big way. It's causing a lot of excitement for altcoins. In fact, we had another day, $602 million worth of ETH bought by institutional players, once again, actually outpacing the amount that was purchased on the BTC side. So, but, it's not to say the BTC side was small. Basically, right now, again, like I say, it's just a race for all these big players to try to squeeze through this really small door and get whatever they can while they can. All right. Now, what I will say here is that we have actually reached a new record in terms of open interest in the crypto market, $202.3 billion. It's a pretty big number. What that means is that we're going to have a lot of volatility moving forward. And that could mean ups, that could mean downs. And I'm sure you guys don't want to hear that. I'm sure you guys would love to hear me be just insanely bullish and just say that things are going to, moon. But as you guys know, I'm not that kind of person. I try to keep things pretty realistic. I try to keep things pretty level-headed, and maybe people disagree and think that I'm just a perma-bull. I'm not. I understand that there will be red days. There will be retracements along the way. I will say I like what we're seeing here because, again, we're still seeing short liquidations outpace long liquidations over the 24-hour period. When we look at something like ADA, I know we've looked at this almost daily, but guys, this can change. This can change daily. We're still sitting here at an imbalance to the short side. So what I find kind of interesting is that we are seeing a lot of shorts just try to continue to fill in and suppress this rally that we're on right now. I mean, just to give you guys some context, even James Wynn is back. And guess what? He's shorting. He's trying to push the market down once again. This has not worked well for him every time that he's done that. So maybe we can get a little bit of a push here headed into the weekend. We'll wait and see what happens. It's a question then of conviction, right? Does retail think that we are going to keep going on a run? Do we kind of chop around and do what we did last weekend? That's kind of my thoughts. We may see some ups and downs as we're kind of taking a gather step, essentially, preparing for this next run to the upside. I mean, frankly, guys, as we've hit this week, just from basically Monday to right now alone, that's a 15% move for ADA. So it's a question of whether people want to hold or not. What I will say here is, again, another distinct shift that people need to notice is we've reached a 51 on the altcoin season index. That is the highest level we have seen since all the way back in November. This is happening in a much bigger way. And actually, and if we look at ADA versus BTC, we're only about 3.5% away from actually flipping BTC over the last 90 days. That's a pretty big deal. ADA's making some very distinct moves right now, and it's not surprising. Again, thinner levels of liquidity, major conviction from holders, great developments going on. Just the tie to BTC alone via Bitcoin OS, these are all pretty big deals, and they're finally starting to impact what we're seeing in the charts. Still huge days in terms of trading volume, $237 billion over the last 24 hours. And look at ADA's volume, guys, $3.4 billion. We have once again we actually eclipsed Tron, we eclipsed BNB. So we're starting to see, again, ADA get lively and exciting. And actually something I want to reference here too is, like I've said in my other video the other day, for those that missed it, I said there'd be 5 assets that lead us into this breakout in the crypto market. And it would be those 5 that are the US based assets, the ones that went on the runs back in November. It was going to be ADA, Algo, XRP, HBAR, and XLM. And what's interesting is actually over the last, or today's daily candle, look at who is maintaining their gains and look at who's actually giving a little bit back. Algo down 3.5%, HBAR down 1.64%, XLM down 3.4%, XRP down 0.5%. And this isn't to throw shade at any of these assets or anything like that. I do own XRP. I have an XLM long open as well. So these are assets that I think are going to continue doing well. But understand that ADA is kind of doing its own thing right now, which is a very, very good sign. This is what we were talking about, where ADA can kind of separate from the market just a little bit, kind of do its own thing, make its own steps here. So we'll see how the day progresses. Things are looking good, and we can just see if we have enough momentum to carry into the weekend, if we have enough excitement to maintain over the weekend, and if we can then start to have just another big week ahead of us. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.